1 year in, you're standing in line at a self-checkout with a basket of discount vegetables, and the machine won't scan the barcode on a can of beans, and you feel a flicker of the old panic before you remember. The panic is a habit now, not a fact. You have $600 million. You are arguing with a beeping machine over a $1.19 can of beans. And that, more than any number on any screen, is the truest picture of your life exactly 1 year after you won. Nobody knows. That's the part that still doesn't feel real. Not your mother. Not the friend you've had since primary school. Not the woman ringing the little bell for help 2 lanes over. A year ago, you were the kind of broke where you counted days until payday in your head while you tried to fall asleep. Then a set of numbers you'd picked for no reason lined up on a screen, and the floor of your entire life just quietly dropped away, and you caught yourself before you fell, and you never told a single soul that it happened. A year later, you're still holding on to that silence with both hands. Let me tell you what a year of that actually does to a person, because it is nothing like what you'd imagine standing on the outside of it. The first thing you learn is that the money is the easy part. Money just sits there. It behaves. You put it behind a plain, boring company name with a boring address in a city you've never lived in, and you let quiet people you pay very well make it grow while you sleep, and it does exactly what it's told. It's the silence that's hard. The silence is a full-time job you can never clock out of. Every conversation becomes a room with a locked door in it, and you spend the whole time making sure no one notices the door is there. You didn't plan to keep it secret forever. That first night, sitting on your kitchen floor with your back against the cupboards, you told yourself you'd wait a week. Just a week, to think. But a week passed, and telling anyone felt like stepping off a ledge, so you gave yourself another week. And somewhere in the second month, you stopped counting weeks and understood the truth. You were never going to tell them. Because the moment you did, you'd stop being a person to the people who love you and start being an amount. A number they'd do quiet math around at dinner. You'd watched it happen to a distant cousin once, years ago, over an inheritance that wasn't even large. You saw how fast the family rearranged itself around the money like water around a stone. You decided, without quite deciding, that it would never happen to you. So here's what 1 year of secrecy actually looks like from the inside, hour by ordinary hour. You still go to work. You kept the job on purpose, because a person who suddenly stops working invites questions, and questions are the one thing you can't afford. So 3 mornings a week you sit in the same office and answer the same emails, and your manager still leaves passive-aggressive notes about response times, and you still write back, "sorry," on it. A year ago, that note would have ruined your whole day. Now you read it and feel almost nothing, and the nothing scares you a little, because you realize the job stopped being something that could hurt you the day it stopped being something you needed. You go through the motions of a life you technically escaped a year ago, and no one in that office has the faintest idea they're sharing a break room with one of the wealthiest people in the state. You've gotten frighteningly good at a specific kind of small lie, not the dramatic kind, the tiny, constant, daily kind. Your friend suggests a nicer restaurant and you say, "Let's do the cheap place? I'm saving this month," and you watch relief cross their face because they're saving too, and the lie protects both of you, them from feeling behind, you from being seen. You've learned that the most convincing thing you can do with $600 million is complain about the price of things. So you complain. You clip a coupon you'll never need. You wait for the sale. You've turned frugality into a costume, and the costume fits so well you sometimes forget you're wearing it. The hardest days are the ones where someone you love is struggling, and you have the power to end it in 4 seconds, and you sit on your hands instead. Your mother's car finally died in the spring. She spent a month taking 2 buses to work in the cold while she saved for a used one. You could have had a car in her driveway by morning. Instead, you found a slower, quieter way. An anonymous fund, a program that technically exists, but that she happened to qualify for a little too easily. It took 6 weeks instead of 1 night, and every one of those mornings you knew she was standing at a bus stop in the cold, and you let her, because a car appearing overnight is a thread someone could pull, and a program approval is just good luck. She got the car. She cried. She thanked a charity that has no idea it helped her, and you sat with the strangest grief of your life. You had helped the person you love most in the world, and you would never, ever get to be the one who did it. That's the tax nobody warns you about. It isn't paid in money. It's paid in every moment you have to disappear from your own good deeds. Somewhere around the 6th month, the loneliness changed shape. At first, it was sharp. The ache of wanting to shout the news from a rooftop, to be known for the wildest thing that ever happened to you. But that faded, and something worse settled in behind it. A slow, quiet suspicion that you'd become a stranger to everyone, including yourself. Because you'd started editing yourself, making yourself a little more boring in every room, a little more forgettable, so that no one would ever have a reason to look closer. You stopped telling good stories. You stopped having strong opinions in front of people you didn't fully trust. You became, on purpose, the person no one remembers after the party ends. And it worked. And some nights it feels like you traded the most exciting thing that ever happened to you for the most invisible version of yourself you've ever been. You had one genuinely bad scare. A few months in, at a friend's birthday, you'd had exactly one drink too many, and someone started the usual game. What would you do if you won big? And you, lonely and aching to be seen for one careless second, said it a little too smoothly, "I'd never tell anyone, not one person." A woman you barely knew looked at you a beat too long and said, "That's a very specific plan for something that hasn't happened." You laughed. You changed the subject. But you drove home replaying that sentence 40 times, and you spent the next 3 weeks quietly, checking every corner of the public record to make sure nothing tied your name to anything. It didn't. She was only guessing. But that was the night the last piece of it clicked into place. That secrecy isn't a decision you make once and it's done. It's a discipline you practice every single day, forever. And it only takes one loose sentence, one flash of wanting to be known, to undo a year of careful silence. And yet, and this is the part you didn't expect, it hasn't all been a cost. There's a strange, quiet peace in it too, on the good days. There's a specific kind of calm in knowing that whatever happens, your mother's house is safe. Your sister's tuition is handled through a channel she'll never trace. Your niece has a future waiting for her that will open on her 18th birthday like a door she didn't know was there. You've become a kind of invisible weather in the lives of the people you love. You can't be seen, but things quietly go right around them, and they'll spend their lives calling it luck. There are nights you lie awake, and it feels less like a burden and more like a secret garden only you know the way into. You've stopped needing anyone to clap. You do the good thing, and you vanish. And the vanishing has started to feel less like hiding and more like a kind of grace. But then there are the other nights. Because a year in, you've met someone. And it's real. The kind of real you stopped letting yourself feel somewhere back in the 2nd month, when you first understood how much you had to protect. You've spent months with her now, and she knows the frugal version of you, the one who complains about grocery prices and books the cheap flights and clips the coupons. She likes that version. She trusts him. And every night, in the dark, while she sleeps beside you, the same question sits on your chest and refuses to move. Does she get to know? Or does she become one more person who loves a man that doesn't fully exist? The careful, edited, forgettable version you built to keep $600 million invisible. You think about who you were before any of this. That version of you would have blurted it out on the 2nd date, laughing, reckless, thrilled to be alive. This version sits across the table from her and does the thing you swore you'd never let yourself do to someone you love, he calculates. He measures whether she's someone the secret could survive. And you hate that you do it. And you do it anyway, because the discipline is the only thing that's kept you standing all year. And the discipline is also the loneliest thing you own. So 1 year in, you're still standing at that self-checkout, arguing with a machine over a can of beans, worth more than everyone in the store combined, known by no one, and you finally understand that winning wasn't the moment your life changed. The moment your life changed was the 60 seconds afterward, when you decided who you were going to be about it. And you've been living inside that single decision every day since. Here's the only question you can't answer alone, and the one you can't ask a single living person without changing everything. 1 year in, with more money than you could spend in 10 lifetimes, and one person who loves the smaller version of you sitting across the table tonight, would you finally tell them the truth and risk everything the silence protected? Or would you let them love the quieter you for one more year and keep the whole impossible secret safe a little longer?